Number 1.
She did this completely by accident, but about a year ago or so, I was coming out of a bad 5-year breakup, and I was just playing the field, trying to find someone that I clicked with. I was doing the whole internet dating, and family setting me up with friends, and nothing had worked out. One day, my best friend contacted me, and told me she'd met this super cute guy while she was in town shopping, and they had struck up a conversation. As they talked, she realized this guy seemed perfect for me. We had a lot of the same interests, and when she mentioned me to him, and that I was single, he seemed really eager to speak to me, and maybe something would come of it. He explained that he was coming out of a similar situation, and he thought he seemed to have a lot in common too. He gave her his cell phone number, and when she gave it to me, I was sort of apprehensive. But I finally decided it wouldn't hurt to call the guy and just see what he was all about. Anyway, to make a long story short, I spoke with him on the phone for a couple of days, and we decided to meet up for coffee after my shift at work one night. I asked where he'd like to meet, and oddly, he suggested a local gas station near the coffee house. Again, I thought it was strange, but then reasoned that it was a well-lit public area in the middle of our town, and figured maybe he just wanted to make me feel comfortable. So I get there, and he comes walking out of the gas station and explains that his sports car is in the shop. At this point, I just assumed he didn't have a car and was ashamed of the fact. He jumped in, and we headed the 5 minutes down the road to the coffee place. 20 minutes into this date, and I realized I was sitting across from a pathological liar. Everything that was coming out of this guy's mouth was obvious bullcrap. But being the nice person I was, I sat listening and smiling, agreeing in all the right places, while mentally writing this all off as another failed experiment. Just then, my cell goes off. I don't use it much, and figured it was my friend checking up on me. No. It was from him. I held the phone under the table and opened the message. "Are you the chick out on a date with Jeff?" "Yes. Who is this?" "Listen, I need you to get out of there right now. I know you don't know me, but trust me. He's been using my phone. I know him, but we are not close friends. Look him up on topics. You are in danger. Leave as soon as you can." An angry ex-girlfriend? A present girlfriend? Who the hell was it? So I was completely freaked out. After lying and saying my friend had texted me with an emergency about my son and I had to go, I dropped him off at another local business. He leans over and gives me a hug and tells me that he was going to come and hang out with me on my lunch break at work the next day. I guess my friend had mentioned where I worked, and I was bugging out. When I got home, I looked the guy up on topics, and then several other sites to substantiate what I was reading. He's a registered sex offender, and has warrants in like 4 counties around here. He did show up at my work the next day, and just stood in the back of the place, and watched me as I waited on customers. I did my best to ignore him, and then explain everything to my manager, who promptly called the police. He left before they came to check it out. For weeks, I used to freak out when I had to work nights, thinking he was going to murder me on my way to my car or following me home. The person that texted me from the cell phone he had been using to call me on never texted me back, and I never figured out who the hell it was. So thank you to the unknown person that may have saved me and my child a lot of heartache, and to the creepy guy who had my friend fooled. I hope you're in jail, and let's not meet again.
Number 2.
I was frequenting OkCupid for a few months. Between being a full-time student and a full-time waitress, I was having trouble meeting people. I had several great encounters and even met my husband via OkCupid. But this guy was a creep. We messaged back and forth online a few times and set up a time and place to meet. I let him know ahead of time that I would be coming straight from class and had a long train ride with connections to get to where we were meeting, and thus I might be a little late. There was a station I transferred at that had a cell signal, and I would text him when I got there if I would be running behind. Of course, I am late, and I text him. So I get to the bar, and he's already ordered me a drink. This is a pet peeve of mine. As a lady meeting strangers on the internet, I like to be in charge of what I imbibe, and be in control of it the whole time. Thankfully, the bartender hadn't brought it yet, and was the type of beer I like, so I took it, but said something about preferring to order my own drinks on first dates. The rest of the time in the bar went well, actually. I had a second beer, him a third. We chatted back and forth, and there was some chemistry, so I suggested we go somewhere else for food. We decided to walk to another place, kiss a bit, generally have a good time. I think things are going really well. We get to another place, and he orders shots. I remind him I like to order my own drinks, but he says he knows this place makes excellent. Insert some dumb shot like red-headed slut or something here. I say fine, but after this shot I'm done drinking for a while. In retrospect, I should have turned down this shot. Live and learn. Anyway, the shots come. We do them. He immediately orders another round of some other obnoxiously named shot I don't particularly care for, and I tell him I won't be drinking it. He says he'll take mine if I don't want it. Repeat this process about 3 times. I now have several shots in front of me that I have no intention of drinking. He gets upset when he notices and mentions how he's wasting his money on perfectly good alcohol. I say I'd be happy to go Dutch, and don't want to drink anymore. He also tries to grope/kiss me, which I decline. He goes to the bathroom, and I hightail it out of there, in a bit of a panic, telling the waitress to cover for me while handing her some money. She says, "Run girl, while you can, I got your back." I wind up taking a cab to the restaurant I work in, and freak out to my manager friend who calms me down with food and sympathy. End of story, right? Wrong. The next day I get a voicemail from this guy while I'm in class, asking where the hell I went, and blaming me for getting him mugged after leaving the bar. He says something about feeling like we had a real connection and wanting to meet me again, after yelling at me for leaving. Yes, really. I ignore this voicemail, and the emails he sends, and the texts he sends, for weeks. Thankfully, I hadn't given him any personal information other than my name, probably not even my last name, so he has no way to contact me beyond my phone and email. I would have blocked him, but I like to know what crazy people who are fixated on me are saying. After a while, I finally message him back, asking him to stop. I explained how extremely uncomfortable and frightened he made me feel, and how there was no way I would ever meet someone who had disrespected my boundaries like that again. He immediately begins apologizing, while simultaneously blaming me for being drunk because I was late by less than 10 minutes, causing him to drink while he waited. I mention how ludicrous that is and repeat that I won't be meeting him again. Please stop contacting me. He stops for a while, then I notice he's viewing my dating profile on OkCupid again. Quite frequently. I updated my pictures and whatnot, so I sort of ignore it. A few days later, the messaging starts up again. He finds my Facebook profile, probably because I'm not the best at hiding my identity on the internet, and he sends me a friend request that I block. I message him and tell him that if he continues with this, I'll have to involve the authorities. Thankfully, that seemed to be enough, and I never heard from her again.
Number 3.
So hey guys, I've been lurking in this sub for like 2 years, and thanks to the wonders of online dating, I finally have quite the story to share with you. I use Tinder pretty frequently, and it's usually cool. Just meeting people, chillin', smoking with most of them. So I matched with this dude named Charlie, and he seems cool. He's really cute, and he plays music which is really appealing to me, as I also sing and play piano. We talked for a little while, and I agreed to meet him at his house. Mistake number 1. Why did I think it was a good idea to meet a stranger in their home? I don't drive, so I take an Uber over, and it's a decent way away, so it's kinda pricey. When he buzzes me into the apartment complex, I get this really creepy vibe, but I shook it off as nerves. I go up to the 3rd floor, and he's standing at the door. Things are cool. We're just chillin'. We smoked a couple of bowls, and we're watching a movie. So he makes a move on me, and I go with it. We end up on the bed, and we're obviously engaging in adult activities, when out of nowhere, he wraps his hands around my neck. Hard. Now that's all fine and good with me. I mean, I can dig that in the right setting. But alone in a stranger's house, when he didn't even check to see if I was cool with it, is not one of those settings. So I literally can't breathe, and I'm fairly certain I'm turning blue at this point. And he is just relentless. Not only is he asphyxiating me, he's now yelling in my face. "Are you scared?" with this wild look in his eyes. And I'm like, "Fuck yes, I'm scared. You are trying to kill me right now." I started to struggle, and he was gripping even harder. I'm not even kidding, you guys. I seriously thought I was going to die. By some miracle, I wriggle out of his grasp and start screaming. He's yelling at me to calm down, and I'm frantically trying to put on my clothes. He grabs my wrist as I'm trying to leave, and I use all of my strength to pull away and slam the door. As it was closing, the charming fella bid me adieu with the words, "Fucking cunt." I get home and look in the mirror, and I have a hell of bruises on my neck. I try to cover it up with makeup, to no avail. I straight up look like I was almost strangled to death. Then he texts me saying, "I think you need more than one dick." And I'm like, "Oh really? You want to bring a friend and kill me together? How lovely." Anyways, I blocked him and reported him on Tinder. I wish I could have done more, because I seriously think he would have killed me. I've been debating going to the police, but the bruises are gone, and it's a he said she said thing. But I'm really starting to wonder if I should, because the next girl might not be so lucky. 0 out of 10 would not attempted murder again. Crazy strangler Tinder dude. Let's not meet.
Number 4.
I have been on some weird dates in the past, but this one was the weirdest experience. It may not seem as creepy to some, but the situation was highly uncomfortable. Keep in mind, I wasn't the brightest at 23. Being so naive, I made bad choices that could endanger myself. I was single, and I used a common dating site. I came across this guy Jeff, and we chatted for a while. He was impressed with my profile. I mean, super enthusiastic. Jeff was a few years older than me. He was cute and seemed like a nice guy, so he asked me out and would pick me up at my place. When he picked me up, I jumped in his car and we chatted a bit. I noticed he had a katana, a Japanese sword, in his car right in the middle of the front seats. I asked him about it, and he said it was for his own protection. I wasn't scared of the sword, it looked more like a cheap decoration. I thought that was weird because how is he supposed to use a long weapon like that inside the car? During our chat, he seemed nervous and awkward, but I assumed it was because of anxiety in meeting me. We went out to eat, and he was still nervous or wouldn't make direct eye contact. He was insecure, which made me feel better because I knew he wasn't threatening. After we ate, he told me he had something to tell me. He drives off to a private parking to look at the inlet. It was weird, and I was starting to get concerned now that he had to park somewhere private. He then goes on to tell me that he's a paedophile. At this point, I don't know what to say and just listen. He goes on to say that he was talking to a 14-year-old girl and that they were going to meet up and have sex. Turns out the FBI were there instead. He had to go through tons of therapy for it. Even after that date, he would contact me daily. He had no social life aside from a rare few friends or acquaintances. I didn't want to see much of him because he just weirded me out. Not just the paedophile stuff. His facial expressions were so forced, as if blinking his eyes was difficult, and his expressions to me were abnormal. I'd never seen anything like it. He didn't seem mentally sound at all. He also didn't understand sarcasm, and took me quite literally, which was really confusing. I told my mum about him, and she said that he didn't seem normal at all. She told me that I should get him off my back permanently by making up a lie that I was seeing my ex and that he didn't want me talking to him. Luckily, it worked, and he stopped contacting me. My phone didn't have a block button, so I couldn't block his calls or texts. However, if he sees me on a dating site, he always sends me a message if I don't block him first. I feel bad for him, but I just got creepy vibes from him, and he was far too desperate for my company. I certainly didn't want a stalker. Let's not meet Jeff.
What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out the video. Big shout out goes to The Fear for this collaboration. You guys should go check out his channel. He puts out some really good stuff. The link will be in the description below. He's a good friend of mine, and I don't think you guys will be disappointed with his work.
Go check it out.